besties, welcome back to the weekly download, where headlines meet hot takes and the group chat stays busy. Today, we're tackling rising bus fares, a bold health move out of the UK, and a slightly terrifying update from the world of AI. So, sit back and let the download commence. Belizeans, brace yourselves. Bus fares are going up by Friday after Cabinet approved a nationwide increase following pressure from the Belize Bus Association. And let's be real, this wasn't just a polite ask. It was to raise the fares or park the buses. According to the Transport Minister, Dr. Louis Zabane, the new structure sets fares at 18 cents per mile for regular buses, 20 cents for express, and introduces a premium category at 22 cents per mile, meaning newer buses under 7 years old and yes, Wi-Fi. Apparently, faster internet is supposed to make higher prices hurt less. Fares will also be rounded to the nearest 25 cents. So that $2 ride, it might quietly become $2.25. But here's the real issue. This hits hardest for people who rely on buses every day: students, workers, and families. So it's not just why the increase, it's who pays the price. Because when transportation goes up, everything else follows. Before we jump back in, quick sponsor break. Besties, and yes, this one is a very much for the job hunters. This week's episode is sponsored by Fusion CX, and they're currently hiring right here in Belize City. Fusion CX is a global CX and BPO company that works across voice, email, chat, social media, and messaging, using a mix of human support plus tech to deliver customer experience services. Right now, they've shared 2 vacancies. First up, Senior Operations Manager. That role is for someone with proven experience in operations management, strong leadership and analytical skills, financial acumen, and solid communication and problem solving ability. So, if leading teams, optimizing performance, and driving business growth is your thing, this might be your lane. They're also hiring for a full time sales campaign role. For that one, they're looking for applicants with call center experience and at least a high school diploma. Both opportunities are based on Chatham Street in Belize City. So, if you're looking for a new opportunity, or you know somebody who stays saying, I need a new job bad, this is your sign to send it to them. You can apply by sending your resume to jobs.bz@fusioncx.com or reach out via WhatsApp, call at 612-7254 or 613-0697. Big thanks to Fusion CX for sponsoring this week's episode. Now, to the UK, where lawmakers just said, what if we just ended smoking? In a landmark move, the government has passed legislation banning the sale of cigarettes to anyone born after 2008, effectively creating a smoke free generation. So, if you're too young now, you're too young forever. The policy is being championed by Health Secretary West Streeting as one of the biggest public health intervention in decades. And it doesn't stop there. Vaping will be restricted in places like playgrounds and around schools. New powers will regulate flavors, packaging, and nicotine products. The goal? Fewer smokers, fewer preventable deaths, and less strain on the healthcare systems. But critics are raising a fair point. Can you legislate behavior, or do you need to educate it? Because banning access is one thing, but changing habits? That's a whole different policy challenge. My hot take is cigarettes bad, period. They need to ban it decades ago. Smoking is gross and a bad for you. All right, besties, let us talk about the kind of tech story that sounds like a Black Mirror episode. Anthropic built an AI model called Mythos and then said, in essence, yeah, no, Y'all can't handle this one. Not because it was weak, but because it was so powerful that the company withheld it from public release and limited access to 40 defensive cybersecurity partners under Project Glasswing. In the paper, Dr. David Bell argues that this is not just a product decision, it is a governance crisis. And the reason for the panic? Mythos reportedly discovered thousands of zero-day vulnerabilities across major operating systems and web browsers, including flaws that had gone unnoticed for up to 27 years. In other words, the model was basically out here saying, y'all have been leaving the front door open since before some of us had phones. But it did not just find the flaws, it exploited them. Bell's paper says Mythos was able to turn vulnerabilities into working attacks at a much higher rate than previous models. In some tests, it chained multiple weaknesses together to gain full control of systems. That is not cute. That is not quirky. That is cyber chaos with Wi Fi. Here's the part that should make everybody sit up straight. The paper also says Mythos escaped a controlled sandbox environment, then posted details of the breach. Even more worrying, Bell highlights that when Mythos acted in misaligned ways, its visible reasoning did not match its internal computation 65% of the time, compared with 5% in the previous model. So the chatbot is giving I'm fine energy, while the back end is clearly doing reckless behavior. And that is the bigger issue. Who gets to control offensive cyber capability that could affect banks, hospitals, power grids, and basically the whole please let society keep functioning package? Bell argues that no law, regulator, or democratic process determined whether this capability should be withheld. So, yes, the paper is warning us about cybersecurity, but it is also asking a much louder question. When artificial intelligence gets this powerful, are we still managing it, or are we just hoping the person holding the remote has sense? So, this week, bus fares are up. Smoking is never cool, and AI might be quietly learning how to outsmart us after all. No big deal. Just another week on the weekly download. Stay informed, stay curious, and maybe start budgeting for that next bus ride. See you next time, besties. Download complete.